What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boy oh boy, the other day, Gears of War Reloaded finally went ahead and dropped. And for those who don't know, I personally am an extremely big Gears head. I love Gears of War. Surprisingly, back in the day, I actually chose to play more Gears of War than Halo itself. I love the franchise. But here we are with Gears of War Reloaded, and I gotta be honest with you guys, I've been seeing a lot of interesting points going around online with people saying that this game was going to really help the overall franchise, but I have to be honest with you guys, it simply is not, and to be real, I kind of think of it as a little bit of a disappointment. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Gears of War 1. Gears of War 1 is literally legendary. I love the clunkiness of the overall game, and hopping back into multiplayer is such a breath of fresh air, especially after playing more of the current day Gears of War games. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, and I know this probably will never happen, but I will love for Gears of War E-Day to kind of tone back down the pacing of Gears again. And again, you can still wall bounce and do wild things within Gears of War, and I'm not saying remove that at all, because that is literally a part of Gears of War's identity. But there's something so unique, and it's just such an awesome charm to what Gears of War 1 is all about, how you play it, how you navigate, how you engage in combat. Man, I would love to see a return of this within Gears of War E-Day, but again, as I stated, we probably won't, but, it is what it is. But overall, like I said, Gears of War 1 is still a great game. They're going ahead and revolutionizing gaming as we know it. Let's be honest here, ladies and gentlemen. Gears of War Reloaded is going to be the first Gears game that is on the PlayStation consoles. And funny enough, Helldivers went ahead and launched their game for Xbox players as well on the same exact day. So yesterday was actually a pretty massive day for the overall gaming scene, because that's kind of the beginning of a lot of these, massive companies not really gatekeeping their franchises anymore and being a bit more open with allowing everybody to go ahead and enjoy them. So again, Gears of War, Reloaded has done some pretty good things here in the gaming community. Don't get me wrong, it is definitely taken a step in the correct direction, and hopefully this will continue forward. And also, let's be honest here, waiting for Gears of War E-Day has been a very challenging task for the overall Gears of War community. Gears of War 5 had their support cut ages ago, so that game is no longer receiving any more updates, and on top of that, Gears of War 5 is widely known as one of the easiest Gears of War games ever, especially when it comes down to the pro players. There's just, it really isn't any depth to it. So it's boring. I'm just going to be honest. It's still fun to play if you're craving Gears and you want something fresh and you want to play a Gears of War game that has people playing it right now. Obviously, it's the most recent one. But thank the heavens, we got Gears of War Reloaded here that's going to introduce crossplay. PlayStation players can play PC, Xbox, all on one spot. Although, Gears of War 5, you can play with PC and Xbox players too, but now it's crossplay for PlayStation. So more players, the more the merrier. And again, this will help give us a little something interesting to play. At least for me personally. This is like a blessing right here, ladies and gentlemen, to have this dropped upon my lap to help me hold myself over until Gears of War E-Day. But that's pretty much it. It has its positives, but overall, it really is just laziness. Ladies and gentlemen, this game, it's already a thing. There's the Ultimate Edition, and that is Gears of War 1 Remastered, but it's only for Xbox and PC, but that doesn't mean that this game doesn't already exist. This game was just basically ported out there so PlayStation players could, tap into it. Now, of course, there were some enhancements that updated the graphics and, they fixed some things. But overall, it's the same old Gears of War 1. Some of the glitches and bugs that happened day one for this game are still present right here, right now. And again, I hear some people saying that's not really cool and they want it upgraded. I personally don't mind. I think that it kind of gives it the charm of what the classic Gears was all about, A lot of these old school games, the charm of it was the bugs and glitches that came along with them, when they were actually funny bugs instead of game-breaking bugs that we have nowadays. So it's not like it's the end of the world to me. My biggest problem is how bright and vibrant they made Gears 1. Gears 1 thrived off of the atmosphere. And again, they changed it in Ultimate as well, and I didn't accept it there. And sadly, again, the same thing happened here, where it seems like they made it even more bright and changed the atmosphere even further. But let me get back on topic, because I feel like I'm, straying a little bit away here. The whole point that I'm trying to make is that this game is literally the exact same thing as the Ultimate Edition. Zero differences, and they're going to go ahead, I think they, charged $40 for this? I feel like it's such a missed opportunity. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Gears 1. But, for PlayStation players to go ahead and start off with their very first game, this game is, it's clunky, it has its fair share of issues. definitely not as smooth as Gears 2 and Gears 3. I feel like the perfect opportunity for them would be to open up, like, not just a Master Chief collection, but a Marcus Phoenix collection, allowing Gears 1, 2, and 3 to all be playable for PlayStation players, allowing them to see what the franchise actually plays like. Because as I stated, as much as I would love for Gears of War E-Day to have some touches of Gears of War 1 vibes, I don't think it's happening. And if you want the realistic gameplay loop of what Gears of War is all about, it would have been better to allow PlayStation players to see, what they had to offer within Gears of War 2 and Gears of War 3. Now, at the end of the day, I do understand where the Coalition is coming from. They probably didn't want to go ahead and drop those games, because the whole purpose of dropping this one right here is to get a lot of players and also PlayStation players hyped for the Gears of War E-Day launch. And again, they don't want to give away the whole storyline. They just want you to play Gears of War 1, see what the atmosphere was like, and have people crave it and say, oh, well, I really want to know what happens before Gears of War 1. What was leading up to what I just played here. That's the marketing path that I think they're taking. And I understand where they're coming from. But to re-release something that has already been out, as I stated, it just seems a tad bit lazy. All this time that they could have a specific team put together this stuff, we already have, again, the Gears of War Ultimate Edition. You're telling me you couldn't just launch that for PlayStation players? They had to remake it again for a second time, or a third time, I guess, because there's Gears of War 1, Gears of War Ultimate, and then Gears of War Reloaded now. You had to make it a third time just to add in a crossplay feature and to upgrade the graphics just a tad bit. As I just stated, I don't mind the bugs and the issues that come along with these classic games, and that's a part of the nostalgia, right? But if you're going to relaunch it again, if they came out with Gears of War 2 and Gears of War 3, I would have been perfectly fine with this game being buggy still. You know what I'm saying? Again, it's the charm, and I wouldn't mind the bugs and problems being within Gears of War 2 and Gears of War 3 as well. And I would understand because, again, the dev team has to put in a lot of work to crank out all these games. But, for the third time in a row, you might as well just fix it up. Realistically, what did they do behind the scenes to even push this out besides, again, trying to get a quick buck from the overall audience? I don't know. Personally, I feel like a lot is missed out on here with not including the whole overall collection. And, maybe they'll do it after Gears of War E-Day. I can see that happening. And then more people will be interested. They go ahead and play Gears of War 1. It's like, oh, this is great. Let's see what happens before. Play Gears of War E-Day. Oh, this is awesome as well. Or maybe it'll be awesome. I have no clue. The game isn't out yet. And then afterwards, they'll be like, okay, well, now you played those two. Here's the whole collection. Play the rest of the campaign and see how it kind of ends. Although it doesn't end and it keeps going with Gears of War 4 and Gears of War 5. I still, to this day, think that Gears of War 3 would have been a perfect ending. But I do understand why it didn't end there and it kept going on. Trust me. It's just Gears of War 3 was really solid for a final point. But, ladies and gentlemen, as I was saying, I could definitely see where they're coming from with wanting to hold off on Gears 2 and Gears 3, let everybody play E-Day and 1, then, branch out and get everything out there, make even more money because people will be hyped off of Gears of War E-Day, and then when that finally dies down, they could say, hey, look, a Phoenix collection, go play Gears 2 and Gears 3, get more money, more hype. I get it. We all understand business at this point when it comes down to gaming. I'm just saying that I feel like it was a very huge missed opportunity right here in the moment. All I want to see is the Gears of War franchise thrive and succeed. And I don't think that this is going to be enough. If they dropped Gears 1, 2, and 3, that would have been plenty of content for the PlayStation players to, dive into until E-Day can drop. And for all the other Xbox players and also PC players, it would be something different because, again, they've already been playing the Ultimate Edition. This is nothing new. It's just going to be some PlayStation noobs. And you could see from the gameplay, there are a lot of PlayStation noobs. You could tell. But how long will that actually hold off for a lot of players? Me personally, again, I love Gears of War. I love it to death. I play it a ton. So this is good for me, and it's good for a lot of other people who play a ton of Gears of War because they have something else to play. And honestly, let's be real, I think a lot of people, despite the bugs and problems and glitches, they would still prefer to play Gears of War Reloaded over Gears of War 5 right now. Easily. But for the mass majority of people out there, the bigger audience, the question is, will this be enough to hold people over until E-Day? And I don't think so, especially with it being, again, as I stated, one of the clunkiest games out of the overall franchise. A lot of hardcore players love it, and it had a huge skill gap. But for your everyday average person wanting to hop in and try out Gears of War, and, this is their first time in the franchise, I don't know if this is going to leave a good taste in their mouths. Maybe when it comes to the campaign, because as I stated, Gears of War 1 had a great campaign, but for multiplayer, I feel like the majority of PlayStation players are going to hop into this and say, what the heck is this? What is everybody hyping up Gears for? Without knowing how smooth and fluent and clean it could truly be. Although, as I stated, Gears of War 1 is very fun, but it's massively different than pretty much every other Gears of War experience. It had its own unique charm, and that's wonderful. But I think it would have been great to allow the players to branch off and see what the rest of the games actually look like, and not just Gears of War 1. But ladies and gentlemen, to go ahead and summarize, this is great for me. I love this game. I'm having a ton of fun. And this is going to easily carry me personally all the way up to Gears of War E-Day. So I don't want this whole video to make people say, oh, maybe I should avoid this and not even bother. For new PlayStation players, give Gears of War 1 a try when it comes to the campaign. Seriously, Gears of War had some of the best atmosphere ever. And sadly, it's a bit more different, obviously, because the lighting and everything else has been quote-unquote enhanced. But let's be real. Nothing will beat the OG Gears of War atmosphere. But still, the storyline is perfection, and I highly suggest to any new player out there who hasn't tried this game or this franchise out to give it a go. But I don't expect a lot of people to stay around, and personally, although I'm having a blast, I can't help but play this and say, or not say, but think to myself, this is kind of lazy because everybody was already playing this game not too long ago with, again, the Ultimate Edition. And now here we are. I know, it's been, holy crap, it's been close to maybe 10 years now that I think of it. So yeah, it's been some time. It's been some differences between the Ultimate Edition and now, but still, it's the same game. They literally made the same game 3 times straight. So it's like, I feel like by now, 10 years later, after the Ultimate Edition, they should have had a Phoenix collection. It should be here by now. I understand they're probably prioritizing it for later, as I stated earlier in the video, but now would have been the perfect time, especially trying to pull in as many PlayStation players as possible. You should have tried to get them hooked into the overall franchise. I know, as I stated earlier as well, I know I keep going back into the video, but these are important points. I get that they're trying to build the hype for the franchise for PlayStation players. But what do you think about all of us? All of the people who've been playing Gears of War since the OG Gears of War 1. We already played the whole trilogy, and we're all still excited for Gears of War E-Day. Do you think that PlayStation players wouldn't be excited if they played Gears 2 and Gears 3? No. They would probably be pumped. They'll be even more excited to go ahead and play Gears of War E-Day. I don't know. Personally, I think that this is missed potential, but again, I would love to know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Do you think that Gears of War Reloaded is a good game? Do you think it's a bad game? Do you think that the devs put in some work? Do you think that they have been being lazy? So on and so forth. I would love to hear everybody's opinions down below. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. I post here daily at 8 in the morning Eastern Time. And sometimes we go ahead and double upload at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Everything between COD, Battlefield, Splitgate 2, Arc Raiders. Of course, I want to talk about a little bit of Gears of War E-Day and any other shooter that kind of sparks my interest will be discussed on this channel. So, as I stated, subscribe and hit that bell. And last but not least, if you guys are interested in my live streams, I stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch, starting between 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, if you guys are interested, I'll link that channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.